25 years on, KPMG India prides in making its clients successful through consultancy and advisory services, built on the back of a thriving culture and world-class talent.
So at KPMG, we believe that in order to create a thriving organization, we must create and sustain an environment which encourages our colleagues to give the best each and every day that they're here. To draw on their commitment to the organization goals and values and really motivate them to contribute to the organizational success. To be a clear choice for our clients, for our people, and the communities that we operate in is clearly the purpose that we exist. And as a large part of bringing this to life is really about our culture. And to be able to have a culture in the organization that fosters teamwork, collaboration, trust, and innovation is what all our people interventions and efforts have been targeted at. And the big investment that we have made really around is ensuring that we have the right skills to be able to have differentiated capabilities in the marketplace. We have invested in best of breed learning to be able to build deeper capability in our tax practice, in our audit practice, ensuring that we use newer methods of agile learning in our advisory practice to be able to build the skills that we need as we go forward in the marketplace.
KPMG presents 25 years of making a difference.
25 years, a really long span of time in the life history of a corporation, of a company, of a firm, and an equally long span of time in the history of an economy, and one that has been growing at a fast pace. Yes, let's bring in Mr. Arun Kumar, who is the Chairman and CEO of KPMG in India, to join us on this very special conversation as we talk about the 25-year journey for not just KPMG but the Indian economy, because you, sir, have been partners for so many corporations in this country in taking this path forward. So which are the biggest moments that come to your mind? Which are the high points that you think of?
It has, as you said, been a wonderful journey, an exciting journey with a number of high points. If I were to look at where we are today, the quality of the clients that we serve, the top Indian corporations, a number of governments, state and many ministries at the center in a number of different areas, whether it's assurance or tax services, consulting, and within that, advising companies in terms of mergers and acquisitions, improving their processes, improving their risk postures. All of that's extremely exciting, and we continue to make a difference to them every day.
As you've partnered a lot of the corporations through this journey, GST truly has been this dream that we dreamt for almost 10-15 years, and finally it came to fruition. What has been the learning curve and where are we on the learning curve, because it's still far from absolute stability, right?
Well, it was a very ambitious undertaking and one that had to be pushed through fairly quickly. So initially there were some teething problems, but frankly we were well over those, and the results are there to see. Revenues have risen significantly. And when you talk to companies, they tell you that the logistics has improved enormously. So what would take several days, it just takes a couple of days now in terms of moving things across the country. So I think it's one of those reforms that is going to be really far-reaching. People are already seeing the benefits of it. Of course, there are still some wrinkles to be ironed out, but by and large, business leaders are very happy with GST.
Which, according to you, are the most important of these wrinkles that the government should also keep in mind right now as we get into the second phase?
Well, the wrinkles really are at the very small business end of it. It's a small business person who still has to figure out how to deal with it. But above that, the medium-sized companies, the large companies, they have figured it out and they're seeing the benefits.
That's, of course, one big landmark reform that we've seen.
Another example where we've been playing a good role is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code.
That's been a big one.
That's an enormous reform. We've created a special situations group which does a number of things. It helps companies go through the insolvency process. It helps companies buy assets from committees of creditors or the selling institutions. It helps in the turnaround. So we've got a wide play going on in the special situations.
That's the hot zone in your office, at least these days, because that's where the buzz is, right?
That's right.
So let me get some more granular details on this, on the whole IBC process. Do you see a mindset change when you're talking to promoters and companies that you work with? Because insolvency law is very different. The regulations from the RBI have become far more stringent, and it's really a changing piece even as we speak.
You've got to remember that there was not an insolvency regime before this.
Yes.
So yes, one might say things have become more stringent, etc., but at least it's clear what needs to happen. Now there has been appropriately fine-tuning as we go along, because when you introduce a reform of this kind, you learn as you go. There'll be some speed bumps and you need to adjust your speed according to that. So that's happening. But overall, I think the rules of the road are getting very, very clear.
The other sort of interesting facet for us here has been the whole regulatory journey, corporate governance, what the market regulator has been doing, what the ministry at its level has also been doing. And there again, the buzz of over the last couple of months at least has been the role of independent directors, for instance. I mean, that is still a talk point because we had a situation in the credit markets. So how do clients, specifically clients that you have in the financial space, how do they look at this changing paradigm?
So I think good governance is important for robust capital markets. That's accepted the world over. And I think the institutions that are being set up in India are already set up on the basis of having very high standards of governance. So now those need to get implemented and they need to be constantly improved. So for example, the Quota Committee was a step to further improve the governance process in the country, put a lot of emphasis on independent directors and the independence of the board and management being distinct. These are basic concepts of governance where the board represents the shareholders and they can look out for the interests of the shareholders. And they're again looking out for the interests of all shareholders, not just a small group of shareholders. So these are all major advances that are happening over time.
On largely speaking about growth prospects and talking about aspiration at the level of individual companies in corporate India, where do you think we are in the curve? Because there's this constant debate about whether we'll ever get back to 9% growth or not, and the challenges that we faced. I mean, some of the disruptions like GST, which at least for the near term put a bit of a speed bump.
But GST will actually add 1 or 2 points to our growth.
Eventually, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a really good point.
Yes.
But I would say rather than look at the macro, if I talk to the leaders of businesses, they're all looking at very robust growth. I don't think I've spoken to a single CEO who's not looking at a pretty good double-digit growth. Many are looking at 20% growth, some are looking at higher. So in general, I feel the mood of corporate India is very bullish in terms of growth. And that is driven by a number of factors. One factor is the fact that consumer aspirations and consumer spending are growing across the country. A second aspect has been the infrastructure spending that's been happening, which in turn makes the economy and companies a lot more productive and competitive.
And productivity is also an internal reflection as KPMG India rose to the rank of top 5 companies to work in and also a great Indian workplace.
Now, I just want to come to some aspects about the drive and the force within the organization as well. So as you're looking at the immediate aim, if I were to ask you to sort of pinpoint something that is the immediate aim at KPMG today, what would that be?
KPMG has grown with the Indian economy. KPMG India was founded in 1993, 2 years after the Indian economy began opening up. So we've ridden the growth of the Indian economy, and I'd like to think that we've helped contribute in a modest way to the growth of the Indian economy. We've helped bring a number of global companies to India, we've served them in India, we've helped Indian companies go out from India to many other countries, we've served them in that respect. So in terms of India entering and taking advantage of the opportunities that the global economy provides, we've been right up there with Indian companies. I just see a lot more is going to happen.
Okay, to this special KPMG presents 25 years of making a difference. I'm in conversation with Arun Kumar, who is the chairman and CEO of KPMG in India. So, sir, we spoke about, of course, a lot of the facets that have swept through the Indian economy over the last several years. Let's also talk about your 25 years of this journey, KPMG itself. What are the big landmark changes that you've seen in terms of whether it's employee culture, ethos, priorities? What has changed here?
Well, the first thing is our growth. We started with a handful of people in 3 offices, and today KPMG in India has 20,000 people, which is the second largest presence of KPMG globally. So in the whole KPMG universe, we're the second largest employee population. That's a pretty big accomplishment starting from scratch.
Absolutely.
25 years ago, we're now in 25 different offices across the country. We serve a number of governments in the states and a number of ministries in the center. We serve the top corporate clients, as I was mentioning. So that's an enormous set of accomplishments. We have a very talented group of people. I mean, the talent in KPMG India is second to none. This is what really excites me about India, the fact that our people are just so very motivated, so very bright, and very focused on making our clients successful every day.
Okay. You recently, I think, had your town hall as well,
Yes.
and this time it was all digital, I guess, in step with
Yeah.
the times,
Yeah,
I suppose.
yeah.
So, any interesting
actually-
anecdotes or sort of what sort of came out of that event?
First one is pretty cool because we had thousands of people connected live on this digital town hall. And the interesting thing was that although we had thousands of people, there was a certain intimacy about it, which I myself was quite struck by the intimacy of the digital town hall. So we had a conversation, people asked questions from around the country. Not only around the country, we had some of our people working with clients overseas, and they were also tuned into this. So a pretty exciting way to connect everybody digitally in real time.
So, that brings me to the other facet. Client needs would have also evolved because the economy has evolved. I mean, business structures have changed. What has been this evolution like? What are the big changes that you've seen, and therefore how has KPMG internally sort of evolved to cope up with that change?
So the biggest evolution is that our clients are thinking very big. They're thinking national scale or international scale. So the ambitions are very, very big. And when you see the kind of growth that we've seen in the country, you can see why that reinforces that confidence. That confidence reinforces ambition. That's the most exciting part of the story right now. Tremendous confidence that we see. And along with that, the sense of entrepreneurship that you see across the country. Today, India is the second largest place for startups. At least 5,000 vigorous startups in the country. When I talk to people from the United States, they tell me that after Silicon Valley, India is the richest source of startups. The best ideas are coming from here. Now, this is all just quite amazing. This is what's fueling the country, the ambition, the energy, the entrepreneurship.
What about competition? Because, I mean, it is a crowded marketplace out there, and of course you have the global edge. There've also been sort of boutique advisory firms that have opened up along the way. How is the consulting landscape in India as a whole, and how do you see it for yourself?
Well, first, it's a very, very opportunity-rich landscape. There's plenty of opportunity. Plenty of opportunity for lots of us. Yes, it's competitive, but there's plenty of opportunity for everybody. So I'm not too worried about the competitiveness. I think what's really important is that when there's such opportunity, that what we do a really good job of. So we are very focused on that. Provide very high quality service so that our clients see us as very high quality, highly reliable, which means that we've got to be careful. We've got to pick our clients and our projects properly, and we need to be committed to making them successful. We can't just chase the next big opportunity. There's plenty of opportunities.
Okay. So we've done 25 years. Now you're looking at the next many, many years, many decades. In the immediate term, what would you say are the top priorities and goals for KPMG?
So I think that, as I said, there's plenty of opportunity, and we have a very talented group of people. So how do we serve our clients who provide these opportunities with the best service? The best way we can do that is through how we team together. So I think there are many smart people in the world. Compared to the smart, plenty of people are smart. But how we team together is what's going to make the difference. It's going to be, like which is the team that plays well together, as opposed to which is the team that has a number of stars, because we all plenty of stars here. And our company is full of talented people. So we are focused on how do we bring multiple disciplines together so that we can serve the client more effectively as a team.
In terms of just employee engagement, work life, working at KPMG, what has changed and what more will change?
It's a journey. We really want this to be a place where people enjoy coming to work and enjoy working with others. Part of that will come from how they see themselves develop. Are there opportunities for professional development? Do they learn more as they work here? Do they learn more from their colleagues, from the programs that we put out for them? So going forward, a big focus for us is going to be our people and how we help them reach their potential. Well, actually, I'd say that in some sense, all our employees have an entrepreneurial bent because we're looking at new issues, new problems, new solutions, and all of them call for innovation, call for entrepreneurial thinking. So whether you're within KPMG or outside KPMG, we welcome that kind of entrepreneurial, innovative thinking. And that's what's going to make us successful in the future. That's what the evolving market definitely demands.
Okay, well, good luck with those plans and those goals. We wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, that's it for this conversation, but do keep it with us because you will hear more snippets coming up about the employee initiatives that we see ahead at KPMG in India.
Our engagement model, Pride, focuses on 3 dimensions. It focuses on connect. This is really about our communication efforts with our employees. Second is around inspire, which is our recognition and motivation efforts. And third is really around engage, which is about everything that we do beyond work here to make this a fun place to be.
It is our value system that makes us really great. The leadership of our organization really motivates us, and I am not surprised that we are among the top.
Absolute amazing treatment of employees.
And I believe it's a really great organization for everybody to work with. It's employee friendly.
The way the firm nurtures its employees is what sets us apart from all other firms.
KPMG Drive is really KPMG's hunger, drive and inner fire to produce results and achieve success for our clients. We looked at a word that captures what really defines our success as a firm here in India. And the word that jumps up to us is Josh. Josh captures passion, zeal and enthusiasm. We are just not another boring fake firm. We are exuberant and exciting. The word Josh really works well with who we are. We therefore are a Josh-driven firm with passion, drive, energy, with Joshful people.